I also believe I also believe that we will have a fantastic time. So one of the things I really need from you to make this a great session is for you to be responsive, responsive in chats, responsive when I ask questions, quickly unmute and ask questions, particularly if I throw it open. So that way it's easier for us to get going. Of course, you probably already know that because it's a virtual session, it's usually more difficult for facilitators to engage. So the only way I know that you are not just there with your microphones muted, you're sipping your cup of tea, some of you taking your eba, amala, pounded yam, and all the heavy kind of stuff. So that can possibly distract you from paying me full attention. The only way I can know that you are with me is when you respond by chatting and by talking. So it's okay to have your cup of tea, but anything beyond cup of tea, anything beyond biscuits or, some reasonable snacks, you can do away with that for now. Eba is not snacks, so do away with eba if you have it on your table right now. Amala is not snacks. A mountain bowl of rice is not snacks. So, all right. We're talking about set and smash your goals. Now, let me quickly take it from, I'll take a few things on the top of my head. Okay, you already met me. I've been introduced to you. And let me see. Okay, so the next thing is you're going to set goals. You're going to learn how to set your goals. We're going to have what we call checks and balances. One of the major things we expect you to understand after this session is the importance of setting goals and ensuring your business is driven by goals, how to measure goals and affect the success of your organizations, then understand how to monitor and track the performance of your organizations. That's what we expect. Now, let me quickly say a few things. Once in a while, I'll just say some things off the cuff. One of the things you must understand is that for your business to succeed, goal setting is critical to the success of that business. If you keep aspiring to set goals, if you keep aspiring to succeed in your business, and there are no clear goals set for that business, you see, your business is already being left to a chance. The chances of success will not be guaranteed, and you're simply saying, well, I hope it succeeds. If it succeeds, fine. If it doesn't succeed, fine. That's what you're doing. But the moment you begin to introduce the goal setting metrics, you are simply saying, these are the specific things I want to achieve. These are the specific things I'm looking out for. And that stands you out compared to other people. For you to make gains, for you to make profits, if you don't set goals, it's going to be impossible. Take, for example, if you're already in business, you have started, you have 3 months left. One of the things you should be doing right now is to be setting your goals for November and December. And why is that? As farmers, for example, there are quite a number of products that you may have, and those products will be in high demand as we approach the end of the year. So if you need off-takers, what are the goals that you have set in order to have the right off-takers for you to meet the goals that you have? If you need to sell a given number of products, or let's say you even want to make some money, you should be asking yourself, who are the people you should be talking to right now? How many of them should you be talking to? So that by middle of November, end of November, first week of December, when people start making the bookings for Christmas, or when people are already looking for products for Christmas, you have already created a strategy to get into the market. You have already created a strategy to hit a particular, let me use eggs as an example, eggs and chicken, and you know, that is usually in high demand around this period. How many crates of eggs do you want to sell? How many chickens do you want to sell? Whatever it is that you sell, people are going to eat. So you have something that will be in high demand in a period that we're already approaching. So what is your strategy? Who are the people you're talking to? How do you want to get it across to them? How do you want to penetrate the market? Do you want to sell by yourself, which can be stressful, but it's not bad if you're able to do it yourself? But more importantly, How are you going to split what you have to different places to make sure that simultaneously your products are being sold and you are still making money? So those are some of the things that we're still going to talk about. But if I don't get, what I just said now is trying to be more specific to what you're doing. If I don't get to that, once in a while, you can just ask questions, or at the end of the session, you can also ask questions so that we can be a bit more specific. I don't just want to speak to the subject matter and the slides. I want to make sure that whatever you're going to hear today, somebody can go with something really practical for what you're doing that is relevant to your business. All right. What doesn't get measured and monitored doesn't get done. That's one of the things that you should put in your mind. What doesn't get measured and monitored doesn't get done. If you don't monitor something, if you don't measure it, you don't know whether you're making progress or not. That's why it's important to measure it. If you ask some people, one of the biggest challenges of farmers, they'll tell you, oh, there's transportation issue, there's the challenge of storage, there's the issue of bad roads, so our goods don't get to the market on time and stuff like that. So they tell you so many things, but they don't realize that sometimes measuring what you're doing, the results you have gotten in the past, and what you're getting right now is one of the ways to do better in the future. If you don't ask yourself, for example, whatever kind of products you have, how many of them were you able to create last year? How many of them were you able to create the year before? How many of them have you created this year? What is the demand from your customers? Do you have data showing the demand from your customers? If you ask many people who are into businesses, oh, do people buy this thing? The next thing they'll tell you is, oh, yes, a lot of people buy it. A lot of people. That's the only answer they have. What do they mean by a lot of people? Do they have specific figures? At the end of the day, if by a stroke of magic, we're able to just figure out how many people placed a demand for everything they refer to as a lot of people, if you look at the products they brought in and the products they pushed out, you realize that a lot isn't a lot. Maybe 10 people just asked for it in one day, and then the next day, only one person. The following week, maybe 3 people. Then the following week, maybe just 5 people. You can't call that a lot. Yes, there was a particular day when there was a high demand. And if you check, if you take data, you may find out that maybe there was an event around your area or around your store, around your business place that actually increased the demand for that day, which was why you had 10 people requesting for it in a single day. And then you simply concluded a lot of people. Data does not lie, and goals work with data. So if data does not lie and goals work with data, you realize that data and goal setting can help you put a lot of things in perspectives. So it's important to make sure that you measure what you're doing. So one of the best places to start right now, if you have not started, is to go back to record keeping. Your record keeping can be tied to data. Your record keeping can be tied to measuring what you're doing. Your record keeping can be tied to monitoring what goes in, what goes out, what you have put in financially, what you are getting back financially, and you can begin to set goals. With consistent data, is easier to set goals. If you don't have data, it's difficult to set goals. You can only, create some aspirations. But if, for example, I'm going to constantly use maybe crates of eggs and chickens and stuff like that. If you know that your chickens will lay maybe 1,000 eggs in a month, the way you're going to know that is because you've been counting and you've been taking the records, and you've seen that maybe between September 15 and October 15, you got 1,000 eggs. The previous months, between July and August, you got maybe 900. Then between August and September, you got 950. With the figure, you can create an average. So for the next month, you know what to expect. Then you can begin to look at all the other parameters. Maybe when I fed them differently, they produced more eggs. Maybe when this happened, I didn't give them this kind of feed, they produced fewer eggs. But at least with your records, you already have an average. If it's fluctuating between 800 and 1,000 on a monthly basis, you can create an average and you say, okay, I expect maybe 850 eggs on a monthly basis. And if you expect 850 eggs on a monthly basis, you know that there will be months when you're going to get more. There will be months when you might get slightly fewer. But if your average is right, you will constantly hit that. And once you have a specific figure for what to expect, then you already know, okay, so a crate of eggs sells for this amount, maybe 2.5 in some places, 2.6, 2.7, or 3,000. So multiply it by, divide 1,000 by 30. You already know how many crates of eggs to get. And if you divide 1,000 by 30, you have your figure for crate of eggs. And you also know how much to expect, not just the number of crates to expect. So you see why record keeping will give you data, and data will help you set goals. So whatever you do, as you're going back to your business after this training, or you're in the middle of the business and still taking this training, you realize that one thing you must not forget, even if you forget every other thing I'm going to say, is data is crucial to goal setting. If your data is right, it makes it easier for you to set goals effectively. If something is wrong with your data, or if you don't even have data, it's going to be, you can't just set goals out of nowhere. And that's one of the major problems that people have. They set goals based on what data? But if you're setting your goals based on available data, either from your business or from someone doing a similar business, I mean, if you're starting out, you don't have your own data, yes, that's understandable. But the moment you start your own, you must have the data to help you create projections. When people use terms like projections, expectations, outlook for the new year, all of those things revolve around goal setting. But the reason they're able to create projections, create outlook, create expectations, create budgets is because somebody has data somewhere from the previous year. So without data, you may still be able to set goals, but your goals will have issues without data. So it's important to have data to back up your goals. All right. So that's to emphasize what has been written here. What doesn't get measured and monitored doesn't get done. Measuring and monitoring will help you create expectations for the future. So let's go to setting goals right now. Let me even ask, before we go to setting goals, how many people actually set goals? I wish I can see more people right now. If you set goals, you set goals at the beginning of this year that had to do with your business, put a message in the chat box. Let me see. You set goals at the beginning of the year, put a message in the chat box. I set goal, put it, let me see. Don't forget, I said that your comments is what will help me understand that, yes, I did. If you said, I'm only saying if you did at the beginning of the year. If you didn't, please don't put it. So I want to see those who actually set goals at the beginning of the year. If you set goals at the beginning of this year, please put it there. I set goals. Okay, quite a number of people. All right, fantastic. Quite a number of people. All right, so it's important. Now, the next question I want to ask you is, we're more than 70% into the year. If we have just 3 months left, and in fact, barely 3 months, because we've taken a few days in October already. So how many of you have achieved 70% of your goals? If you have done 70% of your goals, just drop 70% in the chat box. If you think you have achieved 70% of your goals, drop 70% in the chat box. Awesome. If you think you have achieved 70%, okay, somebody says around 50%, okay, great. Okay, somebody said 40%, okay. Okay, so let me see, what percentage do you think you have achieved? I can see a few people saying 70. I can see some people saying 40, okay. Okay, awesome. Now, the final, okay, somebody says 45. Okay, 60%, great, not bad. All right, so do you know that despite the fact that we have just barely 3 months left, for those of you who set clear goals and maybe you've done 70, you've done 60, you've done 50%, there just may be one event, there just may be one partnership. You just may talk to one person or create a new platform for yourself. And in less than 3 months that we have left in the year, you might be able to hit 100% of your goals, or even surpass your goals for the year. So it's important for you, and I'll show you how. Okay, let me give you an example. As a speaker, I go to different places. I go with my books, and I have a number of invitations lined up for this year. There's one coming up very soon. There are a few others. And one of the things I've started thinking about is, okay, I know what happened when I went with some books and did certain thing in a particular area, and I saw the difference in results, the difference in acceptance. I saw the engagement and how people, how it generated more platforms even after that engagement. So I've started planning for that already, which is why when I started, I said at the beginning of this year, I mean, when I started at the beginning of this session, you are approaching a critical time for the rest of this year. You're approaching a time when there will be demand for food because it's naturally a festive period. People are going to eat more. People are going to travel. As they travel, they'll eat more, they'll buy more. And people will not just buy more for themselves, they are buying more and sending to relatives because that's one of the ways they feel they should celebrate this season. So you need to begin to position yourself. But if you don't ask yourself, who can I talk to? Take, for example, is there a new market that you can get into between now and December? Is there a new face that you can get to? Are there supermarkets that can help you sell what you're selling? Can you identify a few of them around you that can now start selling? If you have not been doing that already, you just may be shocked that even some of these supermarkets are already looking for people who can supply them these products. And why is it important? Some people don't like shopping just anywhere. They like shopping at, very nice, very decent places. And that's one good thing for all of us. So if you know there's a place where people like to go to and do their shopping, why don't you go to the owners of that store and say, okay, please, I think quite a number of people come here and they may need these products. Can you sell for us, or do you mind keeping some of our products here? Of course, they may want to take a percentage from whatever it is that you sell. So that's fine. Just add to your profit margin. Add it to your profit or the cost of the product. So when you add it to whatever they're asking for, add it to the cost. So when they sell, you're able to get your money. The most important thing is visibility. So what is your goal setting strategy for your visibility? If you're taking notes, that's one of the things you should write down right now. What is my goal setting strategy for visibility? Please write it down in your notes. Whatever, if you're taking notes, if you're writing, what is my goal setting strategy for visibility? Every business, every product must have a goal setting strategy for visibility. If you don't have a goal setting strategy for visibility, then making money is not important to you. Coca-Cola is one company that is already famous. It's a world famous company. It's a world famous brand. But guess what? Till date, you will still continue to see adverts from Coca-Cola. Why do you think that Coca-Cola is advertising despite the fact that they are already world famous? There's something they want to achieve, and there's something they understand. What they understand is that if people don't see something, after a while, they forget about it. Then the other thing they understand is that so long as people keep seeing them, they will keep making money. Let me also say this to you. Sometimes a product may not be famous, but it can be better than the famous product. But in the minds of people, when they're about to buy, the famous product or the more visible product is the one they will buy. Why is that? The consistent visibility of that other product has given them the impression that this product can be trusted. So because they believe that this product can be trusted, they immediately go for it. So if you want to achieve your sales goals, you're creating goals, you're saying, I must sell this number of products, I must sell that number of products, and you're not working on your visibility, then there is a problem somewhere. One of the easiest strategies for achieving your goals, your financial goals, your projections, and all of that, whatever it is that you have set for the year, one of the easiest ways to achieve it is to work on your visibility. And let me also quickly say this here. Because sometimes when we tell people work on your visibility, they think that, okay, Abubakar, I'll come to you. I can see your hand out. Just give me a moment. Let me land this thought. So sometimes people think that the moment they have their goals, the moment they start talking about it, then they will achieve it. If you don't improve visibility, achieving your goals might be difficult. So how do you improve your visibility? Of course, you may spend a little more on advertising yourself, advertising your products. And in some cases, it's not about spending money. I've given you an example of if you have products and it's products that you're selling, I've given you an example of going to supermarkets. Sometimes it can be to approach some restaurants directly. So if there are quite a number of restaurants around you, maybe you are in a place like Lagos, there are several of them. Many of these restaurants go to markets to buy the things that they use, they cook and stuff like that. So if you can go to them and tell them, we'll bring this to you, you don't have to go to the markets. Some of them will feel relieved. So there must be that strategy, either to create or generate a list of off-takers by yourself, or to look at supermarkets that you can partner with who sell your products. The other thing is you just may want to look for clusters where people are going to be looking for the things that you sell and find a way to penetrate that. Okay, Abubakar, I can take you now. I saw your hand up. Were you trying to ask a question?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So I just want you to shed more light on, you said people go for visible products
Yeah,
rather than famous. So my
yeah.
question is, how do products become famous without being visible to, I don't know if you get the
Okay,
question.
I understand you. I understand what you're trying to say. That people go for visible products or famous products over the ones that are not visible or famous. Visible and famous are exactly the same words, actually. So here's the thing. Let me give you Jubiru, I'll come to you, please. Let me answer Abubakar. So let me ask you this question. You already know that Coke is a famous brand in the market, isn't it? Abubakar, stay with me on the call,
Yes,
please.
yes,
All right.
yes, sir.
So now, if you want to buy a drink and you see so many other products that you don't know, but you see Coke, which one are you likely going to buy?
Coke.
Why is that?
Because I know about it, and
Okay.
I've seen that people have trust in Coke,
Okay.
and so many people have this kind of, how do I even put it? Like they have favoritism for Coke because
Exactly.
so many people buy it and they have
Mhm.
used it and they know
Exactly.
the quality of the product.
Exactly. Now,
Yes.
if I create another product that is better than Coke, but people don't know it, will they buy?
No.
Good. So that's exactly what I'm trying to say with your own products too. If, for example, you have a product that is better than what is in the market and people don't know, then they will not buy. So that's why I'm saying you must first of all create a goal to become visible. You must create a goal to become a famous product so that when people see your product, they will buy. For example, let me talk about Bonvita or Milo. Do you realize that the strategy for Bonvita and Milo to hit their goal is to be visible to children? Most times when people are at home watching something with their family members, that's when they're advertising Bonvita. That's when they're advertising Milo. And the next thing, you realize that as a father or as a mother or parents generally, you go to the supermarket with your children because the children have seen the adverts of Bonvita or Milo on television. The moment you get to that section of the supermarket where there's Bonvita or Milo, your children start pointing at it. Why? The adverts, the publicity, the fame has been created for that product. So the moment they go out, if you pick something that your children don't know, they are likely going to say, no, 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 they don't want this one. But they will go for the one they know. And it doesn't mean that that one they don't know isn't better. So what I'm trying to say is that you may even have nurtured your maybe crops, your products, your fruits, your whatever it is that you produce, you may have nurtured it better. You may have created it better. What you have may be healthier than what is in the market. But if people do not know or they are not aware that you do this thing very well and even better than other people, they won't come to you, they won't patronize you. So I hope that explains it. All right. Does that explain it, Abubakar?
Yes, sir. So, where I was confused was when you made the statement that people go for visible products rather than famous. So, but it's
No, no,
clear
no, no.
now. Thank you very much.
They go for visible products versus products they don't know. That's what I should say.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. That was
All
where I
right.
was confused. Yes.
It's okay. All right. Jubril, I can take you now.
Uh, Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. Once
Good
again,
morning. Good morning.
my question is based on setting goals in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah.
And we said what doesn't get monitored doesn't get done.
Yeah.
I want to ask, there's a saying, or is it a myth? There's a myth that says that you don't start a business because you have a passion for it. Well, it, I believe that you can't do something you don't admire. You tend to do something that you admire most. You
Mm.
tend to monitor it the most. But the saying is that you don't do something because you have passion for it.
Mm.
I want to ask, what's the rate of having a successful business
Mm.
if you fuel your business with passion?
Mm. Okay, so let me try and expand that further. When they say you don't just do business because of passion, I think what they're trying to say is that you don't just do business on the basis of passion. Take, for example, you can be passionate about something that is not a need in the market. So if you are passionate about something that is not a need in the market, the question is, are you going to make money from it? The answer is most likely no, because you are passionate about it. And when you're passionate about it and there's no demand for it, people will not pay you. So you're going to be struggling, you're going to be very passionate about it, you're going to talk passionately about it, but people are not going to buy it because they don't have a need for it. However, if you are passionate about something and it happens to be what people need, then people are most likely going to buy it. So the question you should be asking yourself is, this thing that I'm passionate about, is it a general need for a lot of people? If it is not a general need for a lot of people, then you need to find something else that you can do that people need, then become passionate about it. Or when you make money from that one, then you can pour the money back into your passion. However, what they are trying to say is that, do people need this thing that you're offering as your passion? There may be for some people, what they are passionate about is something that people need. Some people are passionate about fashion. People need to wear clothes. People need to wear shoes. People need to wear accessories and stuff like that. Some people are passionate about farming. Everybody needs to eat. But there are people who are passionate about things that are not specific products that people want. For example, somebody is passionate about traveling. How is that a product for other people? The only place it becomes a product for other people is if you start maybe a travel agency and start helping people to book their flights, book their tickets, and stuff like that. Now, that makes a lot of sense. But if that's not the case, then you're simply wasting your time. So make sure that there is an alignment between your passion and the needs of the people. Do you hear what I just said, Jubril? There should be an alignment between your passion and the needs of the people. So long as there is an alignment between your passion and the needs of the people, then your bank account will not have crisis. But if there is no alignment between the passion and the needs of the people, your bank account is most likely going to be looking like it's going to be looking like a radio station, like the dial of a radio station.
All right, so thank
My pleasure. Okay, so let's keep going now. All right. So what are goals? Everybody, what are goals? Unmute and talk to me. What do you think? What are goals? When you hear the word goals, what comes to your mind? When you hear goals, what comes to your mind? So I want everybody to unmute and talk to me. When you hear goals, what comes to your mind? Yes, David, go ahead. David Alabi, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much, sir. I'm really enjoying the session. It's been so informative and educative. So to me, I would say goal is anything that is vividly envisioned, ardently desired, and enthusiastically acted upon.
Wow, I like that. Vividly envisioned, ardently desired, and
Ardently desired,
enthusiastically acted upon, right?
acted upon. Yes, sir.
Awesome. Awesome. I like your definition. Fantastic. All right. Idowu animation, yes.
Thank you for the knowledge you shared so far.
Thank you.
From my age, I believe when you mention goal, when you hear about goal, it can be mainly referred to as the drive and also reasons and actions to what you are into and create the reason why you created this and what you want to achieve, which is the main center of focus. Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. All right, Emmanuel Ogochukwu.
Yes, thank you very much, sir. When we talk about goal, I would say goal is a set of objective set within a particular stipulated period of time to be achieved.
Thank you. Set of objectives set within a stipulated time. Fantastic. Awesome. All right, Felicitas, thank you. Felicitas, let's hear you.
Goals, I will use a layman's language to say that goals are just plans that we want to achieve. Like it's just like a target we set for ourselves to achieve within a particular period of time.
Awesome. A target set to achieve within a period of time. Thank you. Okay, Jibril, you want to talk to us?
Yes, sir. I believe a goal is an objective set by a person in order to achieve a aim or desired result or the things someone wants to achieve in life. Right.
Okay. All right. Thank you. The things you want to achieve in life. Shehu, let's hear from you.
Goals are short objectives which are set to be achieved in the long or short-term businesses.
Thank you. Long or short-term businesses. I like that too. All right. Is there any other hand I have not called?
Yes, Favor.
Okay, Favor, go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. I think, in my own understanding, I think God is the result that one is attempting to achieve.
Awesome. A result one is attempting to achieve. Thank you. Iki Yuan, I hope I got that correctly. Let me hear you. Sorry? Sorry, what did you call it?
Yeah, goal to me is
No,
a
hold on.
strategic plan.
Hold on, sorry. I'm trying to get the correct name. You said Ikirian?
Eukarya, like
Okay, it's the way I'm seeing it, Ikyuan. Pronounce it again, please.
Okay, she's not the person. I think the person that is speaking is Eukarya. The
Oh,
person that wanted
it's
to speak
IKY.
different
No, it's
name. So it's IKY that is to
IKYUAN.
speak now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Please pronounce the name for me.
Ikwan, IKYUA.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ikwan.
Okay. Goals are the strategic plans drawn in any organization for it to be achieved within a short period of time or a long period of time. Depends on how you want to achieve your goals.
Fantastic. Who just spoke now?
Thank you, sir.
What's your name?
Ikwan.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
Ikwan, IKYUAN.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Yes. Williams. Let me take Williams. Ekwe Belam.
Okay. Good morning, sir.
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, you did.
Thank you. All right. Go ahead.
All right. So I want to explain goals using a word, SMART.
Okay.
SMART. SMART.
Yeah.
So goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound objectives that an individual or organization aims to achieve within a specific period of time. So just the word SMART says what goal is for me. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
Fantastic. All right. Oloyede Kolawole, let me hear from you. Kolawole, go ahead. His hands are down again, or was that a mistake?
No, I put it down from my end as he's not responding.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, no, not a problem. So we'll just move on. So fantastic contribution so far from all of you. Now let's go into what we have here as goals. Mostly you said fantastic things. So goals are indicators of a desired outcome. Now, when we say indicators of a desired outcome, remember we started by saying what does not get measured doesn't get done. It doesn't get measured, it doesn't get monitored, then it doesn't get done. So when we talk about indicators of a desired outcome, for example, like Williams, I believe, mentioned SMART. It just helps you to create all the right indicators. One of the things you can do effortlessly for yourself is, when you're doing a business plan, they ask you, at what point does your business break even? So when you're answering that question, you may create figures and say, okay, if we're doing a cash flow of about 4 million or we're doing a cash flow of about 10 million, then we can say that we are broken even. But if you're not doing up to 10 million, you're not doing up to 4 million, depending on what business you're doing, by the way. So you can tell yourself, the moment we hit a cash flow of 4 million, then it's sure that we're doing well. And some other people, it's not just going to be the cash flow. The question is, from this cash flow of 4 million, how much is our profit? Are we getting over 500,000, over 1 million naira as profit? So if you're doing cash flow of 4 million, do we have up to 1 million aside our overhead cost as profit? If we're able to get, say, 1 million as profit apart from overhead costs, then we're doing well. Some other people may say our profit must not be anything less than 5 million, even after all the overhead costs or operational cost of the business. So they are the indicators of your desired outcome. And if you don't create these indicators, you will not quickly know if your business is already running down. One of the reasons businesses run down suddenly, or it looks like businesses went down suddenly, is because people look at cash flow as sales. They look at cash flow as success. They don't realize that even when there is the cash flow, there may be heavy cash flow, but there are still heavy losses. So don't take heavy cash flow as evidence of good business. For example, let's say you made sales of 500,000 in a single day. Naturally you'll be happy. Oh, wow, we sold 500,000 naira worth of goods and stuff like that. That's fantastic. But the question is, the 500,000 naira worth of goods that you sold that day, how do you know if you made profit or if you made losses? For some people, the fact that they made sales up to 500,000, for them, it's profits. But that's not how it works. By the time you go back to the market and you want to purchase those products that you sold that gave you 500,000 naira sales, you now realize that maybe you need 700,000 naira to purchase the same set of products. If you now need 700,000 naira to purchase the same set of products, you say, wow, everything has just become. That's when you realize that you actually made losses. Or did you even calculate the cost of rent from those products? Did you calculate the cost of transportation? Did you calculate the cost of internet if you use internet? Did you calculate cost of phone calls if you make phone calls? What are the additional costs that you added to be able to say, oh, 500,000 naira sales, that's a lot of money. We make good sales, we are doing well. If you're not constantly checking these things, sales will look to you like profit, but sales is not profit. There's a difference between sales and profit. But with the right indicators, you can quickly tell from your sales if you're making profits or not. And it's always better to have created these indicators even before you start looking at your sales figures, so that from each figure, you can tell what is your profit, what is not your profit. In fact, I'm not an expert at Excel, but let me suggest this to you and try and write it down. Let me suggest something to you. Please try and write it down. Get somebody who can help you create an automated Excel sheet. And I'll explain how that's going to help your goals and your indicators. Automated Excel sheets. In fact, sometimes you may be able to find some of them online if you Google using the right word, but maybe Faith Foundation might be able to help you somewhere along the line. What will an automated Excel sheet do for you? The moment you put your figure, they will create it and customize it for your own kind of business. The moment you put your sales figure in there, you've already told that sheet what your income would be, or what the cost of producing each product is. So the moment you have indicated what the cost of producing each product is, the moment you now add your sales for the day or your sales for the week or your sales for the month into the Excel sheet, automatically the Excel will multiply your cost of production per unit by the total number of sales for that week, for that month, for that year, or for that day. And instantly it will look at your operational costs that you have provided and tell you what your sales are. It will tell you what your profit is. It will tell you, it's instantly just enter figures and you see all the things you need to see. So please write it down. Maybe you need to talk to an Excel expert or talk to some other people that can help you create that. I'm not an expert at that, but I've seen it done for something. There's an organization I belong to, and that's what we do. The moment we enter the figures, automatically the percentages are generated. So you just look at it again, you see, okay, so this is the percentage of this that I'm holding, or this is the percentage of this that I'm sending out. So the reason I'm suggesting that to you is because of these indicators that we're looking at. Goals are indicators of a desired outcome. So if you look at your sales figure, you don't know if it's your desired outcome or not. It's not just by the final figure that you can determine what your outcome is, but the figures that you have created before to say, okay, let's say even for those of us who run service-oriented businesses, I know how much I pay for electricity on a monthly basis. I know how much I pay for internet on a monthly basis. I know how much I pay for phone call. I know how much I spend on social media. I'll divide all of that, maybe per hour or per day, and put it on the internet. Okay, somebody's already suggesting that you can have access various automated business templates on Faith Foundation. Okay, all right. Okay, fantastic. Try that. So Excel will just make it a lot easier for you. So they tell you whether or not you have accomplished the desired outcome. Just looking at the Excel sheet, you know whether you are hitting your figures or not. And the reason you must have this in place is that you will be able to tell if there is a problem before the problem eventually becomes a reality. Do you know why many countries don't even know that they're already in a recession until the recession has hit very hard? Is because most times it's maybe until like 2-3 months later that we usually see our figures. That's when we realize, wow, the figures of this past quarter, they're not looking good at all. So it looks like we're heading for a recession. It's the same for your business. If you don't check your weekly figures, and I suggest, because of the kind of things you are even into, I don't suggest you wait for monthly figures because something may have gone wrong and you will not know on time. Check your figures on a weekly basis. At the end of each week, by the time you look at your total figures, it tells you what your sales are, it tells you what your profit is, it tells you your operational costs. You look at the differentials in all the things that you have seen for the figures. You know whether you're good for the next week or whether you're in trouble. But if you don't check it on a weekly basis like that, you just run into the following week, and before you know it, there's a problem somewhere. And that's why people think that, oh, it's at the particular month they got into a problem, not realizing that something was already wrong that they didn't catch early because there are no indicators to catch it. So make sure you have indicators to catch whatever is wrong in your business. Okay, so individuals can set goals. Let's talk about setting goals now. Individuals can set goals. Individuals have various aspects of their lives requiring their attention. For example, you can set professional goals, you can set career goals, you can set business goals. With your business now, for example, are you the only one running the business? If you're the only one running the business for now, then you need to set goals to make more money so that you can employ more hands. If you have more hands, you'll be able to leave your present location, create another business, create an extension of your business in another location. Because if you really want to succeed, you can't be the only one serving everybody. You need to have more hands, either in full-time employment or just by outsourcing. Take a look at Lagos. What is happening in Lagos? There are times I want to buy something from Computer Village, and I don't have the time to go to Computer Village, but I know who is going to sell it, I know what they are selling. I can trust them. So those guys in Computer Village now use dispatch riders. So they don't have to physically go anywhere because they believe if they leave their store, they are losing money. So rather than leaving their store and losing money, they simply send a dispatch rider. So I pay for it. I don't have to leave my business as well. What I want is on its way to me, and in a matter of minutes, it will get to me. So you may look into that if you have not started doing it. There are some things that you are doing. Maybe it's a delicate one, but you just have an arrangement with some dispatch riders that can be trusted and are reliable, and it may make business easier for some of you. Is someone trying to talk to me?
I've muted the person.
Okay, all right. So you can look into dispatch rider. If it's not a dispatch rider for you, some people use tricycle owners, maybe because what you're carrying is a bit more delicate and it's not something that can go on a bike. And listen, that's a simple way of gradually expanding your business. You know why? You have not employed that person on a full-time basis. That person sees what he or she is doing for you as a business. Now, the other advantage to that is the fact that the extra cost of that person's service can be borne by the people you are selling to. You tell them, oh, no, you don't have to come to us. Somebody will deliver it. Just pay for delivery. And they will be happy too because they don't have to come all the way to you. Somebody can bring it to them. So let me now tie this back to that visibility we're talking about earlier. Now, some other people are advertising their products, they're advertising their services. But the question is, what will stand your own out from all the others that are being advertised, from all the others that are also becoming visible? One major thing that will stand your own out is that you're telling them you don't have to come to us. We'll deliver to you. You're telling them, oh, there's convenience. We're offering convenience services as well. So one little thing that makes it look like you're going the extra mile for your customer will stand you out. But bottom line is that it's helping you to sell more. The guy who is running a tricycle or who is running a logistics business and is doing dispatch riding for your business, he is busy and is happy about it. So technically, you have employed a few more people without putting them on salary. And the advantage is that it's the customer that is paying those people, but they think that you are the one paying them. So they are thankful to you for being connected to your business, for being able to reach out to several customers. They are dispatching and stuff like that. But the truth really is you are not the one paying them. It's the customer paying them. But they look at you as if you're the one paying them. So individuals can have spiritual goals. You know, we're very spiritual in this part of the world. I want to read more of my books, the holy books. I want to become a better person. I don't want God to be angry with me so that my business doesn't go bad, you know, that kind of stuff. So then there's family goals as well. Let me beg you for one thing, or concerning one thing. Don't do business at the expense of your family. Don't be so involved in business that you don't have time for your family. Find a way to balance the time that you spend for your business and the time that you spend with your family. That's very, very important, because at the end of the day, if your business goes global, you want to leave it for your family. It's the children that you're going to give birth to, your spouses. They are the ones you want to leave the business for. And at some point, find a way to involve your grown family members, maybe your spouse if you're married, and maybe your children at some. For children, you can catch them young. Gradually begin to introduce them to what you're doing, how the process is going, how you operate everything. You realize that by the time your children, if say for example your children are less than 10, if you have children and they are less than 10, and you introduce them to your business and you carry them along, by the time they are 21, they already have like 11 years experience on the business. What other thing do you want to teach them? So if they go to a business school, if they come to a place like a Faith Foundation, it's the structure and the terminologies they are coming to learn. But over time, they've had 11 years of running a business because you've gradually brought them. And that increases the sustainability of your business. So it's not that the owner dies, as it happens in most businesses in Africa. The owner dies and the business dies with the owner. So gradually look for a way to, bring in your business. And of course, for some people, that's actually a good succession planning. So make sure that you find a way to bring in your find a way to bring in your family. Sorry, I just want to, just give me a moment, please. Sorry about that. All right, so I was talking about family. So yeah, that's one advantage of family. Then you can set goals for your community. I'll give you a quick example, and maybe I can move on to business now, not just personal goal. I have a friend, and someone was telling me about the business that this person started during the lockdown. What was the business that they started? They just started frying akara. How many of you buy akara on the streets, especially when it's a bit cold and the akara is hot and you're just passing by and you cannot resist? All of a sudden, you just see this person frying hot akara. How many of you fry akara or buy akara on the roadside? Just drop a message in the chat box. Say hi, 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 hi. Awesome. Okay. So what they simply did was that they started from a single location, employed somebody to be frying the akara. This was a couple. They weren't doing it themselves. They just employed somebody to be frying the akara for them. Then they provided the gas cylinder. They buy the gas, they buy the beans and everything, all the materials. And they realized that in a week, maybe was it a week? No, 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 no. They were making sometimes a day, they were making like 50K. And when it's better, they make much more than that. And throughout the week, they were making some decent money. So when they did that, you know what they now did again? They just looked for another spot somewhere else, created another akara spot, employed another person, bought cylinder, bought gas, bought everything that that person needs. And what they were making from it is like 2 or 3 times the salary that the person earns from them on a monthly basis. So today they now have like 4 spots. One of the things that people don't quickly do here in Africa is that we don't see the need to, create an extension of our business until it is too late. Then somebody else goes to start that same business that we're doing, and that person has taken over that space. So they have an advantage now because it's the same person in 4 different spots. It's the same person in 4 different spots, but they don't realize that, oh, it's the same person. So they are making decent money. All right. So from community, from individuals, then we now go to business goals. There are businesses that you can set goals that will be for your businesses. So in setting goals, your goals must be 2 broad goal areas. There must be personal goals, then there must be business goals. There must be personal goals and there must be business goals. All right, let's go. So personal goals, I've spoken a bit about that, so I can okay, community, social related. Now, a bit of this community has to do with, okay, maybe how do I do better with them? How do we improve our community? How do we make our community habitable? How do we make it clean? How do we make it better? Sometimes estates, you come together to maybe tar your roads or just grade it or do gates, improve security and stuff like that. Then spiritual or belief driven goals, you want to be more involved in church projects, you want to have meditations, you want to have devotions, you want to be more consistent with that. So that's one goal. Then family, you want to say, okay, for example, if you're not married, you're thinking, oh, I want to marry maybe before the year runs out. For example, now some people are planning, I must marry before this year is over. So you see that there are quite a lot of weddings in December, or towards the end of the year, there are quite a number of weddings. So some people are like that. Then some people are thinking, okay, we're expecting children. Maybe you want to have a dozen children. Some people like children that much. They want a dozen children. That's okay. Just make sure that you have enough school fees for for them. All right. So business goals now. One of the things that will happen in setting your business goal is about your business size. And don't start big. Don't start big. If you have not started, or you are already in it, or maybe you are thinking, oh, it's time to go big, before you grow big or before you improve, ask yourself questions. What exactly do you want to do to go big? Sometimes people think that doing a big business is about renting a big space, having official cars, branding all the cars. And after branding the cars, they have an official space, they rented a very big space. They think that is big business. That's not what big business means. The only true parameter for a big business is what the accounting book says. The only true parameter for a big business is what your income statement shows. If your business is not big on your income statement, forget it. You can have a big space, but your business is still not big. So don't deceive yourself by going for a bigger space. In fact, you know that there are so many people selling online, and most of those people selling online don't have a physical store. They don't have a physical shop anywhere. They are selling from their homes in partnership with dispatch riders. I bought from a few people like that, and I realized that this person does not have any store anywhere. What they are using is dispatch riders to sell for them. You place order online, you place order on WhatsApp, you place order on Instagram. They dispatch to your location using dispatch riders. And some of you too, people can place order. If you have a car, for example, it makes it easier. Convert your car to your delivery van. Use it to deliver goods. Add the extra cost of delivery if you have to, but don't let it be too much so that you don't chase people away. So do something with what you have. Don't try to look big when you are not big yet. In fact, I like something that, I think this is a place where I can use the word our Igbo brothers and sisters without people feeling offended. Let me tell you what I noticed that quite a number of Igbo guys do. By the time an Igbo man is buying a full house for business, just know that he is long overdue. In most cases, he is long overdue to buy that place before he bought it. They prefer, some of them that I've seen, prefer to sleep in a one-room apartment, maximum, maybe one bedroom. They will be staying there for a while. They'll be staying there for a while, but they'll keep doing the business. They'll keep growing the business. They don't care about living in large spaces or in big houses until the business succeeds. And that's one thing that you must focus on. So don't build goals to, and sometimes some people justify, one of the ways we justify living large and spending too much on business space, office premises, and some other things that don't directly impact the business. You say, the way you are seen is the way you are dressed. And, when people see that you have a space, they will forget it. Most times it's just a mirage. Keep doing it in a small way. Keep pushing, let people know about your products, and gradually increase your space as the demand requests for it. So you realize that the word growth, as you can see on your screen, growth is actually specifically tied to profit, revenue, and cash flow levels. So if there is no profit, if there is no revenue, if there's no cash flow, then you are deceiving yourself. A physical space does not translate to growth. So don't make that mistake. Then your market share. How do you want to increase your number of customers? How do you want to increase your market share? Let me also say this to you, if you can write it down quickly and add it to your business. Make sure you have a database for your customers. There's one mistake that I've also seen, that people around here also make. There is no database for their customers. When I say database for your customers, for example, if I ask you, do you have an Excel sheet that shows me the names of all your customers, their phone numbers, maybe their addresses? Address is not compulsory, but names and phone numbers. Do you have anything like that? You realize that most people don't have anything like that. Now, why is this important? When you have new products, your customers are the first set of people you have to go to. For example, a simple way to create that database is to create a WhatsApp broadcast, not a group now, so that you don't create commotion. WhatsApp broadcast list. Now, the broadcast list would be, you simply create a broadcast list and add all your customers if they are all on your phone. But it's better to also have maybe an Excel sheet, maybe a document that has the phone numbers and the names of all your customers. So that if at any point in time you're trying to push new products, you're trying to market new products, you can sell to them. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can even get their email addresses as an opportunity. Each time you have a new goal, your customer base is always the first point of call. They can help you achieve it, and your communication, consistent communication with them, makes that easier. So I think let me rush a bit. Financial goals are also very important. Indicators that determine the financial health of your organization. I was talking about, I've said something a bit about this before. You need to have the financial indicators. You need to have the books that you monitor on a weekly basis, that you monitor on a monthly basis, that you monitor, if you can, on a daily basis. When your business grows to a level, you can even create a mobile app that simply generates reports for you. What do I mean by that? Some people will fill in a form. In fact, you can use Google Form for this as well. There's a way you can create Google Form that on a daily basis, maybe you fill in the details yourself, or maybe somebody else is saddled with the responsibility of filling in the details. Then there are some, at the back end, you will see some charts, maybe like bar charts or pie charts. From those charts, you can quickly tell if something is wrong or if something is working. So find a way that you can quickly tell from the figures if something is wrong. So typically set financial goals to ensure the organization is successful. Let me look at, okay. So you determine the performance of your organization as well after the fact, that is, since historical data is used for its computation. The moment those figures are not looking good, you know that there's a problem somewhere. If the figures are looking good and you've checked everything, then you know, okay, we're good. Then, in fact, when your finances are doing well, you don't just stop there. Let's say, for example, you plan to make 500,000 for last month, and you were able to make sales and you sold 500,000. And then you set another goal of 500,000 for this month. You made sales, you hit your 500,000. Then the third month, you set 500,000 as a goal again. You made sales, you hit it. That's telling you that you are competently hitting the goals of 500,000. So there's something else you need to do. You need to increase the goal. You need to do better. Because if you're setting goals of 500,000 consistently over a period of 3 months and you are hitting it, it tells you that you are not setting goals beyond your capacity. So if you're setting goals and you're always hitting it, you need to increase the goal as well. If your goal is 100,000 and you're hitting it all the time, then you need to increase it. It tells you that you have already passed that 100,000 level or the 500,000 level. So you need to go higher. So I've shared some things about profitability. All of these are things I've shared earlier. So what is your profit? If you go back to the Excel sheet that I mentioned earlier, from the Excel sheet, you can quickly tell what your profit is. Or if it's a manual book that you're using, revenue sales, from the books, you can tell, okay, we wanted to sell maybe 1,000 products. Or if it's tomatoes, please mute your mic if you're not talking. Someone is distracting me. Thank you. So, for example, you want to sell maybe, let's say you want to sell 200 baskets of tomatoes. If you don't put your records, if you don't have records for how many baskets you even brought to start with and how many baskets you sold, and it's not just how many you sold. The other question is, how long did it take you to sell it? If you're putting on paper the number of things you sold, how long it took you to sell it, how much you sold it, it will help you determine, say for example, on a particular day, they now declare public holiday. If you need to scale down on the number of products you are bringing, the way you would know is that, okay, on this day is a work day, we sold 200 baskets. So this particular day is not a work day. So maybe we should not take up to 200 baskets so that we don't lose. Or if you are in a market area, you know that a public holiday is a day to even increase the number of products you are bringing, because many more people will now have time to come to the market. But if you don't have figures, you will not know the difference. You will not know when to scale up or scale down whatever it is that you're bringing. Then what is your expense? You want to buy card, you just take money from the purse of the business. Yeah, please, my data don't finish. Just recharge my data. How much? 20 gig. Pam. And then you'll be bragging, me, I don't joke with data. I make sure I never run out of data. But the way you recharge your data consistently, indirectly is impacting your business. You must set a limit for how much you can take from your business for the purpose of your personal data, or even if it's the business you're using it for, set a limit for how much you must take for it on a monthly basis. Once you've exhausted for that month, that's it. Don't take any other money from the business. You wait till next month, even if it's for phone call. This is how much, even as a business person who is in the service space, I use MTN Extra Value, which most times I don't exhaust it. Why? It gives me a lot of time to talk. And that's the kind of service you should also look out for, so that you are not constantly recharging, and you don't know that you are hitting into your revenue sales. So have that goal. How much we must spend on data, how much we must spend on airtime, how much we can spend on electricity. Yes, you can also plan for how much you're going to spend on electricity. If you have to be turning on your refrigerator maybe for a few hours in a day, turn it off, particularly if you're in an area where there's a lot of electricity. So efficiency, how do you improve your efficiency? Improving your efficiency now means you begin to introduce systems, you begin to introduce computers, you begin to introduce maybe automations into your system. And when you start introducing these things into your system, it helps you sell more. Or don't stay with one store. You realize that you always have a crowd in a particular store or in a physical. Once you start having a lot of crowd in a location, it tells you that you need to create something somewhere else, so that people coming from far location can visit that one, and then you can monitor it too. And of course, if you have shareholders, you need to clearly look at it. How much did you take from shareholders, and how much do you need to send back to them? If you have that Excel sheet, that template, automatically it helps you. So don't joke with that as well. Then another thing you must set goal with, these are non-financial goals and they affect your financial goals. This has to do with how you treat your customers, how you talk to them, what you do with them. Look at the number one here that has been given as an example: customer satisfaction. Don't joke with your customer satisfaction. If you plan to have 10 customers that you reach out to by yourself, at the end of the day, if all 10 customers are satisfied, you are most likely going to have 30 customers at the end of the day. How did I arrive at the figure 30? One good customer that is happy will most likely talk about your product to at least 2 other people. And most of us are like that. If we have enjoyed a product, we always talk about it. So because we always talk about it, every other person that is seeing it will be happy. Particularly, let me give you an example of ladies. Somebody comes out looking fresh, the skin is glowing, everything is working. Most likely, without the lady talking, everybody will ask, "Oh, what do you use for your skin? What skincare product do you use?" You know, that kind of a thing. So before you know it, all our friends, and ladies would generally have a lot of friends, and they usually look out for each other's skin. Before you know it, all of them become your customer. So it's the same thing with the kind of products that you're selling. Make sure your customers are satisfied. And even if they don't tell you they are satisfied, be the one to ask them, did we do well? Are you satisfied with our products? What do you think about our products? Then employee retention. If you have people that are working for you, try as much as possible to keep them happy. Try as much as possible to make sure that they stay with you for the long term. Now, of course, you can't hold anybody down. And if people say they want to leave, let them leave in good faith so that they don't spoil business for you before they leave. However, don't let it be that every month you're constantly changing employee. Every 2 months you're changing maybe your salespeople. What do you do to stop this kind of a thing? Number one, if somebody comes to you, you realize that this person is somebody who has just finished WAEC and is just waiting for WAEC results and wants to pass time. It may be good to employ them if they are of age, they are above 18 and stuff like that. But the question is, what is their wait time between the time of WAEC and the admission into the university? Will it affect your business if only after 2 months they come back and they say, "Oh, they've gotten admission into the university, now they are going"? If it's going to affect your business, then you need to say, "No, I'm sorry, we won't employ people that cannot stay here for a minimum of 6 months." But if it's not going to affect your business, that's fine. so that you don't say that I told you don't employ people that are, maybe waiting for jam, waiting for WAEC or waiting. No, no, no. I'm not saying you should not employ them. But for some businesses, when people see new faces almost every month, it's not good enough for you. So before you employ them, ask questions. I hope it's not that you're waiting for maybe jam or this or that, and then in 2 months' time you're going. Because this particular role, I want somebody that will be here for a long time. So those people that only want to be with you for a short time, employ them and have them in places where they are not really meeting with people, where they are not interfacing with customers. Maybe they are the ones in your store that nobody sees them, nobody meets with them on a daily basis, then that's okay. Then skill transfer. If you want your business, you must have a goal for skill transfer. For example, I was talking earlier and I said, imagine introducing your children into the business from the age of 10. And maybe by the time your children become 21, imagine how much they already know about the business. And it's easier to pass the business on to them. Why? Because you've been teaching them everything. The same thing with the employees that you have. Be glad to teach them. Don't say, oh, they will learn the whole thing and go and start another business somewhere else. If they learn from you, start another business somewhere else, and they are doing well, it's to your own credit as well. So don't hesitate to teach them. While they are still with you, if you don't teach them, they spoil your business. So make sure that you teach them, and while they're with you, they can actually, they can do well for your business. And when customers come, and they realize that your employees have been well trained, it makes it easier for customers to relate with them. There's somebody that I use for a particular service, and sometimes when I go there and he's not there, I hardly want to do business with them, because I realize that the way he treats me as the owner of the business is different from the way the employees treat me, or the way his apprentices treat me. So the apprentices are usually funny, but when he is there, he does a great job. So don't be that kind of business that it's only when you are there that everything works fine, or it's only when you are there that your customers are happy. Whether you are there or you are not there, you must create a goal to make sure that customers are satisfied regardless of who is available. Then response time. Maybe people come, they make inquiries and stuff like that. Make sure that you're constantly responding to them in good time. If you're not the person that likes to, hold on to your phone, you don't check your phone all the time, delegate it to somebody else who can constantly respond to all your customers and immediately. If I send out messages and I'm getting immediate response, I'll be happy about a particular product. So make sure that you're working on that. Then product acceptance. Make sure your product is a standard product. Make sure your product is a standard product. If you have to, maybe don't, since you're farmers, for example, don't shortchange your stock if you're into livestock by giving them low quality feed. Then they now start producing maybe low quality eggs or low quality this and that for you. Give them the acceptable quality. Of course, not to your loss, but give them good quality so that they also produce good quality for you. And when you give good quality and they produce good quality, then your customers are happy about the good quality and you can charge them more for the quality. All right, so let's talk about, have I made sense so far? Let me know in the chat room if you've been following me. Has it made sense to you so far? Have you been learning? I'm waiting for your chats in the chat room. Has it made sense to you so far? Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you. Okay, great, great. I'm seeing your feedback. Thank you. Fantastic, fantastic. All right, so let's talk about monitoring goals now. And our time is running fast. Focus should be on ensuring the effectiveness of an individual and the organization. Now, don't just employ people. We talked about, for example, employing people, making sure that someone else is able to run the business if you're not there, or creating an additional store or an additional location and stuff like that. It's not just to employ people. It's to make sure that they are doing it to the standard of the customer. They are doing what you expect them to do. They are doing what will make your brand highly respected, or your brand become the recognized brand. So if you're doing what will make your brand become the recognized brand, then one of the things that customers will be happy about is the fact that you are actually consistent. I'll give you an example. One of the things that many of you don't like, let's say, how many of you I'm looking forward to your messages in the chat room now. Just acknowledge by saying yes or no. So listen to this before you start typing yes or no. How many of you have been to, let me use the popular Mr. Biggs back then. You go to one branch of Mr. Biggs, you buy their meat pie, thinking it's great. Then you go to another branch of Mr. Biggs, you buy the meat pie, and you realize that it's not the same thing with the one that you bought at the other location. Has it ever happened to you before? You buy Mr. Biggs in one location, is good. You buy in another location, is not good. It may not be Mr. Biggs particularly, but you understand what I'm trying to say. So now that's one thing, is because quality was not ensured. It's because they didn't, maybe they didn't create the goal, or they created it and they did not monitor it. So for you as well, whatever kind of product you are creating, you must monitor the quality across board. Don't let it be that if you have a store in Yaba, you have another store in Lekki, the quality should not be different. It should be exactly the same quality. For example, how many of you will buy iPhones or buy Samsung if the quality of the iPhone in Nigeria is different from the quality of the iPhone in the US, in China, and in all those other places? If the quality is not the same, will you buy it? So it's the same for your product. Make sure that it's the good quality. If it's cattle, if it's livestock, make sure they are equally well fed. The one in Yaba, the one in Lagos, the one in Ikotekpene, the one in Port Harcourt, the one in Bayelsa, they must be equally fed. The one you have kept in Kano or the one that you took to Abuja, it must be the same thing across board. So if you don't monitor that quality across board, you're going to be having challenges, because let me tell you where the challenge is going to come from. You know, I was talking earlier about people recognizing your products, giving visibility to your product, and that the moment your product becomes visible, most likely they'll buy it ahead of other products. Now, this is one challenge with visibility for products. So if your products have become visible, they are in different locations, and you don't ensure quality across board, so visibility can now create a problem for you. So don't allow your visibility, which should be a good thing, create a problem for you. Then seek to find ways to get the best performance from all, as well as motivate them to achieve. That is, if you have employees, make sure you motivate them to perform at their best. You must train them. You must show them what standard you expect across board. So if you don't train them, they won't know what to do. If you don't show them the standard to expect across board, they won't understand what exactly to expect from you. So make sure you train them and they have a standard to expect across board. Then put in place a system for managing performance within the firm. A system for managing performance. In other words, let's say maybe this person is to make sure that this person takes maybe 100 eggs or 500 eggs out of the cage. This person is to make sure that all the feeds are supplied for maybe 2,000 chickens or poultry. Or maybe this person is to buy feeds, or this person's job is to make sure that the feeds go across all the 3,000 chickens. There must be figures, there must be goals given to your employees or the people working with you as well, to make sure that they don't just do anyhow. There must be something to prove that, okay, on a daily basis, you're supposed to feed 3,000 chickens in the morning, and it is proven that you fed the 3,000 chickens in the morning. Not that the person will feed 3,000 chickens in the morning, feed only 500 in the afternoon, feed 1,000 at night. Before you know it, you realize that some of the chickens are malnourished, and you're going to have a problem. If they also die and they are not taken out on time, the place becomes contaminated for one reason or the other, and the ones that are well fed will start having issues. So make sure that there's a system in place for employees to be consistent. If it is 10,000 chickens they must feed, all the 10,000 chickens must be fed. If it is 1,000 eggs they must pack out on a daily basis, they must pack out 1,000 eggs. If it is livestock that they must take to a particular place or feed them on a daily basis, all of the, just create the parameters and ensure they report on the parameter on a daily basis. Don't only ensure they report. If you can afford it, try and put a CCTV in some of your businesses, in addition to you going there regularly. Fortunately, installing CCTV these days is now cheaper. It's one of the ways you monitor those things that you can do. There's a CCTV. I'm not advertising for them. I don't work with them. I don't gain anything from them. But there's something that MTN has done that, you know, it works with Wi-Fi. There's an app for it on your phone. You can monitor what's going on in your business place. You can monitor what's going on at home or whatever, wherever you want to put it. So if your business requires this kind of measure, please make sure you go to that length to do it. If not, some people will spoil business for you. Don't look at money and not, you know, don't look at money and decide not to put these things in place. At the end of the day, if you look at the cost of the CCTV, if you look at the cost of this Wi-Fi from MTN or some others, you realize that compared to your profit, is not a lot. And it will help you achieve your goals. Somebody does not shortchange you. Somebody does not kill your product. I'll give you a quick example. For poultry farmers suffer a lot. This was a case of somebody running a poultry farm. And what the guys were doing was that they realized that if they were to take a physical crate of eggs out of the poultry, you know, people will see it. So what they were doing was that they were taking a 10-liter keg, 20-liter keg into the poultry. And when they were going out, they would just be carrying out maybe a 10-liter keg or a 20-liter keg. Guess what was in it? They had eggs, crates of eggs that they've broken into the keg. So imagine somebody going out with a 10-liter egg. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Instead of crates of eggs, is now liters of eggs that they are going out with. Because if you see crates with them, of course, automatically you know they've stolen the eggs. But instead of going out with crates of eggs, they break all the eggs into a 10-liter keg, into a 20-liter keg. So they were going out with 10-liter keg, 20-liter kegs. So if you don't put in place the proper measure to monitor what you're doing, you will think that your business is running and you'll be losing. So it was until much later that this person discovered that what they were carrying in those liters of the container, the 10-liter container, the 20-liter container, what they were carrying was eggs that they had broken into it. So make sure that you spend the extra resources for CCTV, for if it's Wi-Fi, whatever it is, put something in there that allows you. And even for those of you who have to, maybe you have a car that you use in association with your business, or maybe maybe it's for delivery or whatever it is, put a tracker on that car. Trackers are now cheap. Why would you continue to buy fuel, particularly when fuel is at 600 naira per liter? Why will you continue to buy fuel on a daily basis for a vehicle that does not consume a lot of fuel? And in few days, they tell you that 30,000 naira fuel is off, is done. What is happening to the fuel? It's either, I'll give you two quick solutions that you can use. Number one, if you go to Total Filling Station, they may not have it in all their stations, but some Total Filling Station, and I believe this will help your business. Go to Total Filling Station. They have what they call a Total card. Buy that Total card. When you buy the card, it works like it's just like your ATM card. Put money on it by yourself at the filling station. Just tell them. They will use their POS to load the Total card for you. Now, once you have put money on that card, they cannot use it anywhere else except to buy fuel at Total Filling Stations. The only disadvantage to that is that, of course, it's only used at Total Filling Station. But one major advantage of it is that they can't tell you they bought fuel and the fuel has disappeared. Because sometimes what the drivers would do is that you give them 30,000 naira to buy fuel, they buy fuel of 20,000 naira, 10,000 naira has entered their pockets. Or even if you give them ATM and they bring receipts back to you, they tell the person, oh yeah, sell 30,000. You tell them you sold 30,000 naira fuel, but on the meter, what the person has actually sold is 20,000 naira fuel, and he will collect 10,000 naira change from the attendant. So if you start using that kind of card from Total, it can eliminate some of these things. Then, in addition to using Total, put the tracker on the vehicle. A tracker that works with mobile apps so that on your phone, you can see where the vehicle is going to. If you don't do some of these things, it may look like you don't trust your staff, or you're too strict. But at the end of the day, who is going to run at a loss if they keep doing this to your business. So it's very important. Bear in mind, if your business has not grown to that phase yet, or your business will grow to that phase, make sure you put some of these things in place. There are trackers that are cheap, that are as cheap as 20,000, 30,000. Go online, go on these e-commerce stores, you'll find them. Very small stuff that you can put in a hidden place in the car. And from your phone, you can monitor the location of the car. So if they are buying fuel and they're going outside the location they're supposed to go to, you know that something else is something is fishy. And some trackers are so advanced that you can shut down the vehicle from wherever you are. So I hope that has helped somebody. So that's one effective way, because you are doing products and services, you're sending people on errands. It's very important that you put in place measures to monitor what you're doing. Because if you don't monitor that, it will kill your business. You won't achieve your goal, first of all. And sadly, it's not just that you won't achieve your goals, it may kill your business. So please. Okay. Okay, somebody was asking me to recap. The session is being recorded, so I believe that you can get, because I have less than 20 minutes to go. So I believe that you get the recording. All right. So, put that measure in place. Then make sure that there's a rigorous and objective assessment process. In other words, again, I can see that Mr. Kelechi has put a link there for you to download some templates. And I believe that there will be some templates from Faith Foundation that can help you do what we call assessment, maybe for your staff or whatever it is. Put something in place. If you put that thing in place, it will definitely help you. Maybe on a monthly basis, you don't want that to be too rigorous, or maybe on a quarterly basis, your staff can then take an assessment, or you can assess them. As your organization begins to grow, as you start having up to 20 staff, 25 staff, 30 staff, now you shouldn't be the only one supervising all 30 staff. All the 30 staff, you can break them into 4 groups, break them into 5 groups. Let them have a leader over each group, and try and understand what I'm trying to say, so that you understand the purpose of this. By the time you put them into smaller groups and you have a leader over each group, now the first thing that will happen is that when you meet with them, first of all, you will be meeting with the heads of the group. So instead of meeting with 30 people all the time, you can meet with just 5 or 6 people maximum. Now, what is also the advantage of that? You don't take all your 30 employees away from their duty posts and say you want to have meetings. Have you seen that sometimes on Thursday morning, maybe you're driving, you want to pump your tire, you realize that there's no vulcanizer to pump your tire. Why? All of them have gone for a meeting. I'm like, what kind of meeting are you going for when people need your services? So when you have heads of groups, you only meet with the heads of groups. All the others can go and do their business. Then the heads of groups will go back to all the people that report to them and tell them, okay, so this is what Oga said, and this is what we're going to do. Then when you are out of business, maybe on a Saturday evening or maybe Sunday evening when there's no business, you can also do virtual meetings. If they can't do virtual meeting, if you have to do physical meeting, then do physical meeting, but outside of business hours, so that you don't reduce meeting times. That's one of the things I'm trying to say to you. Reduce meeting times, break your people into groups, select leaders over the groups, and you realize that when you select leaders over the groups and somebody is managing them for you, it's easier for you to get things done. So that's very important. Then focus on ongoing assessment. In other words, don't do the assessments at the end of this quarter, the next quarter you don't do it. Make sure you do ongoing assessment regularly. Then link the assessment with their payments. In other words, at some point, if they don't perform, they can't continue to earn if they are not performing. They must perform, they must deliver. And if they deliver, they get paid. If they don't deliver, they don't get paid. Because most times people have the tendency to be nonchalant if they realize that they can get paid whether they perform or they don't perform. So it's very important that you start linking their payments with their performance. You are supposed to do this. You're supposed to meet 10 customers. Now, we're not asking you to look for 10 customers. You're only supposed to meet them and deliver goods to them. and you did not meet all 10 customers, you started giving some flimsy excuses. Just go and meet customer, you couldn't perform. You met 5 customers out of 10 customers. The company gave you a vehicle, or the company is taking care of your transportation, and you're still giving excuses to meet 10 customers. Then tomorrow you want to come back for transportation, or you want to use the company car again to go and meet another 5, when you could have met 10 customers on a single day. So let them know rewards will be tied to performance. We're going to pay you, but these are the things you must do. If you don't meet these targets, or if you don't do this, you will not be paid. If not, you're going to be using the results from another person's performance to continue to pay those who are underperforming. If you don't assess people and pay them on the basis of performance, you'll be using the result of someone else's performance to pay the one who is underperforming. And guess what? Those who are underperforming are usually the most vocal. So you want to pay attention to that. All right. Revise your goals as well. Revise your goals as well. When we say set goals, it doesn't mean that your goal must remain on the same level. For example, I gave the instance of when you want to hit 500,000 naira and you've hit it consistently for 3 months. That tells you that you're already above that level. There's something else you need to do. You need to set another goal. So how do I, if I've met 500,000 naira consistently, can we shoot to 750,000? Can we shoot to 1 million? What do we do differently? Or if you have set goals consistently and you are not meeting those goals, the question is, should you be doing a downward revision of your goals? Or why are you not meeting those goals yet? Is it that those targets are too high for you? It's possible that you're setting targets that are too high. So bring it down small. Hit the ones that you can hit for now. Then go to the next level and start hitting them. So it's very important that you revise your goals from time to time. Like I was listening to somebody, and this was about a community, and it has to do with getting people to attend some of their programs. And this person realized that he put a particular figure for the number of people they wanted to see in their meetings, and he said he had hit that goal. So he didn't even realize it. He just came in and saw the notes that he wrote on the wall and realized that he had hit that goal. So he needed to set a new goal. So once you hit your goal, tear it off, set another. And one of the things you should do consistently is on your wall somewhere around the house, in your bathroom, at the back of the door. As you're going out in the morning, you're seeing your goal at the back of the door. You're coming back home, you're seeing your goal, in your kitchen, in your room, in your office. Have a vision board. There's something called a vision board. It's not something complex. Just think of a regular notice board in your office or somewhere in your room or wherever it is that you work. Now, on that vision board, you now have your different goals for maybe for your different businesses, or maybe it could be your quarterly goals, it could be your monthly goals, it could be goals for a particular product, the number of sales you're expecting. You can also indicate your performance results. So let it be up there that you are seeing it on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. In fact, if you can buy a marker board, those whiteboards that you write on using markers, and give an update or write an update so that when you meet with your staff, it's open to everybody. They can see that they are hitting their targets or they are not hitting their targets. And you can also see that you are hitting your target or you're not hitting your target. So revise your goals. Then you should also have, and one of the purposes for revising your goals, there are 3 of them here. Number 1 is faulty assumptions. At the time of setting a goal, you may have expected that something will work in a particular way. Unfortunately, you may now realize that it's different when you get on ground. You may see the reality. So it's important to quickly tweak things to align with the reality. Then the third one is insincerity. Like I said, your goal may have been bigger than your targets or than your capacity, and in some other cases it may have been smaller. So adjust your goals to reflect your capacity. And your goals may also have been vague. In other words, it's not specific, it's not clear. When I teach goal setting for individuals, one of the examples I like to use had to do with a young baby, maybe a baby under the age of 3, trying to lift a weight. And I asked them, is this a realistic goal? Everybody shouts no. Then I say, okay, if this baby starts by lifting smaller weights, and over time at the age of 20 or 21 or 25 decides to lift the same weight, will the baby be able to lift that weight? They say yes. So start from a level that is commensurate with your capacity. And as you grow older, in the business, or as the business grows in terms of financial capacity, you may be able to do some of those things, but be more specific with your goals. And another example I like to give is, say, for example, somebody who says, I've just finished university, I want to become a vice chancellor in the next 10 years. How is that going to happen? The moment you finish university, you have to go and serve youth service. That's taking 1 year. You have to do your master's degree after youth service. Master's degree will take approximately 18 months. That's between 1.5 years to 2 years. You have to do PhD, which will take 3 years. If you are really smart, you're really good, you finish it in 3 years. So all those years alone have taken up the 10 years that you need. So you realize that setting a goal to become a vice chancellor of a university 10 years after graduating is not a realistic goal. So sometimes some of you put yourself under undue pressure. And let me quickly say this, just as a way of, by way of encouragement. Some ladies, maybe if you're a woman, you're in this business as well, somebody is showing you, oh, I'm hitting all my goals, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And the person is not opening up to you to be frank and honest with you that, look, my husband works in an oil company and my husband pumps money into this business. But she just keeps telling you, it's women goals, it's women empowering women and stuff like that. I'm doing it all by myself. But at the end of the month, she goes back to her husband to get money from the business. Or maybe for the men too, the person you are married to, you don't know that this guy is married to the daughter of one billionaire or the daughter of somebody somewhere, and then they are getting some extra funding, but they will not open up to you that they are getting extra funding from somewhere, and you put yourself under undue pressure. So you start setting goals because that's their own goal. Don't do that. Don't set goals because it's the goal that somebody else is setting. Don't set goals because, oh, it's looking good with another person. And that's what the question is, what is the financial capacity of your business? What is your own goal? That's how you set your own goal. So revise your goals. Then checks and balances. It's important to have checks and balances in place. For example, I've talked about control. I've talked about CCTV earlier. CCTV is one of the ways to do your checks and balances and stuff like that. Now, I've also said if you have several staff, say, for example, up to 30 and stuff like that, don't put all of them. Don't meet with all of them at the same time. You'll be wasting time. And when you're meeting with all of them, you'll be putting business on hold. I've said you should select group heads, and those supervisors or group heads will be the one that you meet with more often and stuff like that. So the first thing you have done with that is that you have saved time. The second thing you have done with that is that you have entrusted some of your staff with responsibility, and they know that they are the ones you will question if something goes wrong. If they know they are the ones you will question when something goes wrong, they will be more responsible when their colleagues want to misbehave. For example, let's say you have 7 staff and you have made somebody their supervisor. Before you make anybody their supervisor, they know that if anything happens and they cannot fish out the person, nobody gets punished. But the moment you call somebody their supervisor, they now know if something goes wrong and supervisor cannot produce who did it or what went wrong, they know that supervisor will either be sacked or supervisor's payments or salary will be deducted. Once that starts happening, supervisor will take responsibility and realize that, look, if this thing goes wrong, it's going to bounce back on me. Then from that moment, you realize that the supervisor, if he or she was cooperating with them to steal things, immediately that will begin to stop or that will reduce. Why? Because this person is now responsible or is to be held responsible if something goes wrong. So sometimes we don't allow that in our businesses because we don't realize that we're working against ourselves. I'll give you another instance. There's a store I buy things from at the computer village. I do quite a lot of media stuff. So I find myself constantly doing stuff with them. What they have done is that you want to buy a particular product, it's somebody else that will show you the product. When the person shows you the product, it's not that person that will give you the money, or it's not that person that will collect money from you. When the person shows you the product that you want to buy and you say, okay, yes, this is the product I want to buy, then the person generates an invoice for you and hands the product over to you and says, no, they give you just the invoice. They collect the product back. They give you the invoice. Go and pay at that point. When you go to that person and you make your payment, then you collect your receipts. You now take your receipt back to the person that first showed you the product. The moment you take your receipt back to that person, that's when the person now takes the product and gives it to you. Then they help you check whether it was a good product or a bad product. Why do you think they do that? A very simple reason. So that it's not the same person selling the product that is collecting the money. And the person who is selling the product cannot sell the product without receipts. The person who is also issuing receipts will not also issue receipts until she has seen money. And when that works, then your business, lasts longer. You have reduced risk. So put control measures in place. Make sure that somebody authorizes. From the story I've just given you now, you realize that it explains all these things here. Control environment, authorization, segregation of duties. Don't give all the duties to one person. If you give all the duties to one person, you increase room for corruption in your business. You increase room for absolute power. You increase room for somebody to get drunk in your business and start acting like he or she owns the entire business. Let there be somebody else is the one that will show them the product. Another person is the one that collects the money or confirms the transfers and shows them or gives them the receipts. When they collect receipts, they go back to the person that showed them the product and they collect the product. Even after collecting the product, the security man at the post, as they do in most supermarkets, unfortunately, those ones, they just take the thing. They don't really check anything. Make sure that this person is actually checking what the value of the receipt is and what the value of what they are carrying is. It must align. It's not that you just look at the receipt and you just tick it with a paper. So I believe I've explained that very well. Then the key takeaways. In setting goals, entrepreneurs must be clear. Be very clear on what you want to achieve and how their businesses will help in the realization of the goal. So let me summarize being very clear now. If you have records, and we're going back to records, again, it's impossible to set realistic goals without records. Impossible. If you set goals without records from your businesses, you're wasting your time. If you set goals without looking at the trajectory of your business in quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, you're wasting your time. And then don't forget that the quarters are usually busier. The beginning of the year, the activities may not be as busy as the last quarter of the year. Last quarter of the year, from experience, is when most people spend money. So again, you must constantly be looking for a way to reposition yourself in this last quarter of the year, because this is when a lot of people will be spending money. Find a way to reposition yourself. So the question the issue I wanted to raise is, how much did you sell last year? How much did you sell the two years ago? Now this year, things have become expensive. We have increased the cost of everything that we are selling, because all the things that we are buying too, they have become more expensive. How do we now make our money and still sell to more people? Do we have a system in place to sell to people that they can even pay us in installments? Now, some people will be afraid to do that. Let me tell you the secrets to installment issues. If you want to do installments, make sure you are selling to organizations, maybe to a place like, maybe you go directly to the company. The company now buys off from you, and through their HR or through their accounts departments, they now begin to pay you back. If that is not the case, I strongly suggest you don't do installment too. Once you start doing installments to individuals, getting your money back might be a bit of an issue. However, if you go to a company and the accountant, the HR, or the MD CEO agrees, and you do a document, it must be clearly documented, signed, sealed, and delivered, that, okay, they can supply all your staff, all the staff who are interested, they should indicate they can buy all these products from you. And when they buy all these products from you, the company will now be deducting it from their salary to pay you back. Or companies this year now will look for what to give to their staff as hampers for Christmas. Don't wait till end of November, because it's from now. Most of those organizations will start determining what they're going to give to their staff as hampers. Start approaching them now. Is it 10 organizations you want to approach? Is it 20 organizations? Start talking to them now. What are you going to give to your staff? You people know they give fowl and chicken to your staff. You know they give crate of eggs to your staff. We can supply you all the crate of eggs, all the fowl, or whatever it is that you want to. You can even give live goats. to your staff. Let's supply you. Goat is not that expensive, and your people will value it. If they want us to kill it for you, we can kill it for them. Bring the packaged goats and give it to them, So if you sold 10,000 products last year, create a strategy to sell 20,000 this year. That's exactly the point I want to make. And now is that strategy, because it's still the beginning of this third quarter. You can still quickly adjust your goals to make sure that you hit your goals. Then clear financial goals. Clear financial goals. Before you set this clear financial goal, let me quickly remind you again of that Excel sheet I mentioned earlier. Look for that template or ask someone to create it for you. All the money you make, as soon as you enter the money, let's say somebody buys a product of 15,000 naira. The moment you indicate it on the system that somebody has just bought a product of 15,000 naira, immediately that Excel sheet will break that 15,000 naira into your overhead costs, the cost of the goats, the cost of whatever it is that you bought, the cost of internet, the cost of laptop, and then you can see what actually is your product or what is actually your profit on it. So make sure that that is being done. And finally, you must implement proper control measures for your business to guard against theft. Again, of course, if you're going to guard against theft, the easiest way to guard against theft is make sure that it's not only one person that is in charge of sales, is in charge of money, is in charge of confirming payments, is also in charge of giving them the products. You must have a separate store manager. You should have a salesperson whose business is only to introduce the products to the people. Have an accountant whose business is to confirm payment, not collect money, confirm payment. Make sure it's cheaper to get POS these days, trust me. So try as much as possible to go and collect POS and make sure that people only pay your business either by using their cards or by doing transfers directly to the company account. And put notices in your business premises. Nobody should pay cash, especially, well, depending on your area. I know there are some areas in this country, no matter what you say, is cash that people will still deal with. But if you can do cashless in your area, try as much as possible to do cashless. Or if you're going to do cash, you can say any amount, any cash above 10,000 naira, we don't deal. Or if it's above 10,000 naira, please use your card, over time, people will adjust and you can get people to adjust, because the moment you continue to do cash for what you're going to do, whether you like it or not, people will start taking money from the business. So I hope with that, I've done the needful and I've covered within the time frame that I have. I hope I've made a lot of sense. So I can take maybe 2 or 3 questions and then we can call it a day. Thank you so much. I hope you've learned. Please, if you have learned, let me know in the chat room. Thank you. All right, any question?
Please, if you have question, use the raise hand feature. Okay, over to you,
Felicitas, go
Felicitas.
ahead. Go ahead, Felicitas.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Sir. So there was a point you made about, you said something about not starting your business big.
Yeah.
And there should be like a specific amount that you should have before you can like make your business big. And my question is like, how much would somebody have to say, okay, I think I'm good to go to like expand my business to make the business big?
Okay, so that's also, I can't give a specific figure. Now, the question you should be asking yourself is that, for example, has this business gotten to the level where it can pay rent by itself? It can pay the staff salaries if you have staff. It can pay the employees. It can pay, if your business has gotten to a level where it can pay for most of its costs by itself, and there is an increased demand, then you can consider the expansion. And even the expansion you need to test the ground to be sure that there is demand for it. Because if you go and expand and you take money from one business location to go and start in another business location, only to find out that there is no demand for it, you may kill the existing business even in the previous location. So my simple way of answering that question is this: the expansion you want to do you really need extra funds for that expansion, or can your existing business pay for itself? Now, let's say you have 20 staff. You have operational cost of, say, 5 million. After paying your staff on a monthly basis and all your operational costs, how much is left? When you see that you still have a lot of money left, that's when you can say, okay, I think we can pull it off using extra funds available to go to a bigger location, maybe get a bigger space. But if after you look at all your expenses for the month, number one, maybe you can barely cover your expenses, or you don't even have a lot left, then it's not yet time to expand. Or you have to borrow a lot of money to execute that expansion. Be careful with it. So that's the least I can say for now. There's usually no figure to it, but look at what you have made after all your monthly expenses. Do you still have a lot left after you have paid your salaries? And will you continue to have a lot left after you have paid your salaries? If that's the case, you can expand. But even if you don't have a lot left and there is certain proven demand for the expansion, then why not? You can go for it. Yes, Anima Shao, I can see you. Anima Shao, do.
Thank you so much. I would really appreciate the knowledge you shared so far. I picked up a point where you mentioned that in your business, it's better to start small.
Yeah.
Now, I want to make a reference to a situation, or let's say a scenario, where there is a small business that is actively moving with a large scale business plan. That is the visions and the missions on the long term that is to be achieved by the small business as it is currently.
Yeah.
Now, this small business just gets exposed to large funds. Let's say something about what they are doing to core member cohort now. Now let's assume where the small business gets exposed to this fund. Now, is it advisable to push up instantly, or should it still be on a steady run? Asking this question is also based on their set goals to achieve, procedures gradually to follow, and also a proper market research has been done. Now, is it advisable as a business owner to push up instantly or still go steady when such small business is exposed to a large funding? Thank you.
Now, thank you for that. Good question. Again, I would suggest you go, using your own word, I'll suggest you go steady. When you are first of all exposed to large funding, people make the mistake of going to expand in terms of space, in terms of facility and stuff like that. Now, why is that a big problem? It's a big problem because as soon as you expand, you have put extra pressure on the overhead, that is the operational cost of that business. And the extra pressure you have put on the overhead costs or the operational cost of that business, you may realize that after spending all the huge funding you have exposed yourself to, or that you have been exposed to, you may not have the internal capital to maintain what you have now exposed yourself to. So instead of pushing the extra funds into expansion, immediate expansion, why not put your extra funds into what they call capital goods? And I'll explain what is called capital goods. Capital goods, of course, those of you who did commerce, you know what capital goods is. Money that you put into capital goods are goods that are used in the creation of other goods and services, you know. So take, for example, let's say you run a bakery and you suddenly got extra funds. Instead of expanding the space for the bakery, why don't you put more money and stock up flour, stock up sugar, stock up whatever it is that you use to produce the bread, knowing that in the nearest future, the price of flour will go up, the price of sugar will go up, the price of so many other things will go up. So when the prices of those things go up, you are still producing at lower cost, but you are able to sell at the prevailing market rate. So you would have made a lot of profits. So try as much as possible to keep steady, even when you are first of all exposed to huge funding. Don't immediately expand. Let your expansion be gradual. But more importantly, as I said, ensure that there is a real demand. Check the market, do a survey. With your survey, ask yourself, are these people really going to buy? Talk to people physically, one-on-one. Go to the new place you're trying to expand to. Ask them questions. If you can confirm that, yes, if we do this expansion, it will work, then gradually, emphasis, gradually expand. All right, Williams, I can take Williams now.
Okay, thank you, sir. My question is actually on the budget planning sheet, the Excel sheet you said someone could create for us, or we can get it from the template on the website. So now I'm on the website, I can see finance and account. So my question is actually going to you and Mr. Kelechi as well, since you guys have already been familiar with this program. So I can see under the finance and account, I can see budget monitoring, I can see budget, I can see loan repayment schedule, and I can see fixed assets register. Then I don't, so I've downloaded the 3 or 4 forms, trying to maybe go through them to maybe fill in some things in it to see how it works.
Okay.
But I need to know, okay, which of them is the specific one for what, because right now I'm new to this, making use of these budget monitorings on Excel sheets, because mainly what we've been familiar with is using pen and paper to fill these things on book. But now automating it is going to be better. So I just want to know which of the forms are we going to use for which. I can see budget monitoring and I can see budget. So that's my question.
Okay, so most likely, I haven't seen those forms you're talking about yet, but if you look at the budget monitoring, that's probably going to be the closest to what I'm talking about. However, if you try it out and it's not giving you what you want, you can talk more to Mr. Kelechi about it. So I'm sure that they can give more clarity. But from what you have listed out, budget monitoring will be probably the closest to what I'm talking about. But even if they don't have exactly what you're looking for, what I've talked about, it's something that somebody can just easily create for you.
Okay.
All right. Then I saw thank you. I also saw what Felicitas wrote, that the expansion she was talking about is to add some products or other varieties to the business. So like I said, once you're sure there is a demand for it, you can add it. If there is no demand, don't be in a hurry to add those varieties. Because if you add varieties and there's no demand, what you have just done is to tie your capital down. But make sure there is a demand for it. If there's a regular demand for those varieties, why not? Let me take one more. Femi Ido. Femi, go ahead, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Permit me to turn off my camera. I'm currently on transit.
That's fine.
So, yeah, my question is regarding the expansion. Okay. I believe it's good. Rome is not built in a day. You start bit by bit. But also, to come to a more practical sense, when it comes to economical scale, some businesses, if you don't really start at a minimum level, it's hardly to break even, because you just keep recycling your profit margin, even if not decline itself. So sometimes some businesses, it's good you start at a minimum level, so you can, because in terms of the economical skills, when you are getting things at a larger quantity, so it's reduce the cost of production per unit. So I don't know what you can advise us in that case.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Let me hope I got your question correctly. That's if you start at a minimum scale, if you don't start at the minimum scale, you get into trouble. I'm not sure I really understand your question, but I think what you're trying to say has to do with expansion and still going at the minimum scale for a start. So again, what I've said is that yes, start at the minimum level. And if you start at the minimum level and you're trying to grow that business, one of the things you can do is when there is a demand in another location, for example, you can gradually begin to attend to the demands of that location while you are not stepping out full-fledged yet. If you realize that the demand in that other location is going to become consistent and guaranteed, then that's showing you that there's an opportunity for expansion. Now, if you just feel like expanding and there's no real demand, you'll be creating a problem for yourself. Then in some other cases too, the demand may not have been pushed out, but you have to look out for it by yourself and create the service even before the demand arises. However, the strategy to it is make sure you are rightly positioned. If you're not rightly positioned, you might get into trouble. I'm supposed to join another program. Okay, let me take Kola Ole, and that's the much I can take because I need to join another program right now. Kola Ole, quickly, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. And by the time I want to start my business, so because my own business, I'm buying and selling of cocoa, so the one that they are using to turn in the bonfita.
Okay.
So I'm starting at a small money in 2019. So the highest capital I have that time is 20,000 naira. I start with 20,000 naira, but now I don't know how to thank God. I reach 5 million now.
Wow.
My business will reach 5 million now. So the thing I just want to say is this: before you employ, before I just want to tell my colleagues, before they will employ people to join their business or they to run their business for them, so they need to run it by themselves and know how that business is running.
Yeah.
Because when we are talking about the entrepreneurship is not just only you will say you will done it by yourself. So entrepreneurship, we need to be focused, know what you are doing, plan to be big. So because the things that many people are looking say they are not benefit on it, so you use that opportunity to benefit it. Because as you are talking about the template and keeping recording, all the business the day I've started my business to date, all their records are in my hand. The way I buy my goods, the way I'm selling it out. Even if it is I transport it in one location to another location, I'm recording it down. So I won't took from the business money to do anything except business. So if I gain, I will come up from that profit to build some plans. So that's it. That is it. So I just telling them, say, they come. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much. I hope it's been a great one for you. I need to join something else now. Thank you so much. Over to you, Mr. Kileti.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fola, for the session. And we're really happy and elated to really have you on board. Thank you very much. And let's use our reactions to say thank you to Mr. Fola. Thank you very much, sir.
Pleasure.
And bye, sir. So thank you everyone for your time on the call. I already explained I already explained that we're going to just walk through the LMS platform for those that maybe had issues or don't really know how it is. So the recording for this session will also be uploaded on the LMS platform, and you can have access to it there. Also, the slide for this session will be placed on the LMS platform. However, I noticed that some of us, we are coming in and out of the class. I believe it's our network or something else. But I'm just trying to inform you all that attendance is important, and it's necessary that we all attend all our sessions and avoid missing any session. Apart from Oliver, that I know he took an excuse earlier that he's doing his final clearance today and will be going in for his clearance soon, of which he dropped off the call. I believe every other person is supposed to be on this call fully from the beginning of the session till the end of the session. So, but it's fine that we've been able to come for the classes today. So I'm trying to just plead with all of us to go back to the LMS, use the LMS for the pre-read, the post-reads, and for the recordings, you can also access it there, because I'm also seeing the percentage from my end. So it's necessary that we should all use this platform. I know for someone like Bernice has actually been involved with the platform, and she's the only person currently on 88% on that platform. So please, an encouragement to everyone to go back and log in and use the platform. So thank you, everyone. Is there any question you would like me to answer? Is there any feedback you would like me to give?